Hey guys, haven't done this in quite a while, so I'm just gonna bring you a UU match. Really sorry for all the lack of uploads. If you actually look on my channel, I kind of released a video that I sent to PMP Beta that they never uploaded for about 4 months or so, so I really just gave up on that. So let's just jump right into the match. I'm gonna lead off with Snorlax. He's gonna lead off with apparently what it seems to be Deoxys, but it's actually going to be a Zoroark, and I'm just going to switch into Rose Raid because just really easy setup if I want spikes up or anything. But he's just going to U-turn, going to send out the Whimsicott, and that's going to put me in okay position because I could Sludge Bomb and kill it off pretty quickly if I choose to do so. But I'm just going to set up spikes here, and that really doesn't matter because he can Encore after this turn, which is very unfortunate if he decides to do so. But I'm going to keep setting up spikes because if he does Encore, might as well get that free second layer. But he's going to go for a taunt right here, knowing I'd go for spikes again. But right here, he's going to disable me, and with Encore coming up, it probably means that I really won't be able to do anything, so I'm going to have to switch out and send in a Pokemon, probably that it's going to get leech seeded, and I don't have another grass type on this team, so that is unfortunate, and he will be gaining health. So I'm just going to switch out right now. The best Pokemon I do have to send in is probably my Gligar. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. It's probably one of the Pokemon left that has instant recovery. So that's a really nice type of thing. So I'm just going to send in Gligar. It's going to get set with the leech seed, and it's going to get its health sapped. That's unfortunate, but I can switch out, go back into my Rose Raid, and probably kill it off if I need to, and start setting up. So he's going to go for a taunt. This means I'm only locked into Sludge Bomb, really, if I want to kill this thing. And he's going to take that as an advantage, and he's going to get a free switch into Steelix. This isn't a huge problem because Stealth Rocks doesn't really damage most of my Pokemon to a high extent. So this is not something I need to be fearful of. I can take it out pretty easily with a good amount of my Pokemon. So I'm just going to send out Gligar, and he's going to set up his free rocks, and I'm just going to take this as an opportunity to get mine in, being that he probably has to switch out or go for a Dragon Tail or something. So he's going to switch out. He's going to send in his Rotom H just because he wants to get in before the rocks, which is a really smart play. So I'm going to have to switch out. I'm actually going to send in my Rhyperior here because Choice Band, if he goes for a Volt Switch, he's stuck in here. He's most likely item choiced. So he's going to get a Choice Band as I get a Choice Specs. This is really good to know because this means he's running more on power than speed, and he's probably more of a bulky spread, if not max speed. So that's really nice to know, and I'm just going to be locked in here. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to switch out too, and I'm going to go into my Rose Raid knowing he's probably going to want to switch out into a Pokemon that can't hurt Rose Raid. So that puts me in a good position to set up more spikes, and I do have my rocks up, one layer of spikes and one rock, and I'm probably just going to set up more spikes here. He's actually going to probably Dragon Tail me out, so this means I'm in a really nice position as long as it doesn't spin away my hazards that I've taken time to set up. So this is exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to get switched into Gligar. I can either instant recovery or I can really just try to put some damage on him, and I choose to put some damage on him knowing that I can do an okay amount even with his fantastic defenses, and my low attack Earthquake does seem to do okay amount thanks to its stab and super effective. So here, I'm going to go into Snorlax. He has the Steelix out, and I really don't have much I can do here because he might be faster. I'm not exactly sure, but he's going to switch out, and he's going to go into his Deoxys D, probably wanting to set up some hazards. But as you see there, thanks to the pressure, this does turn out to be the actual Deoxys. So that means I'm just going to be able to Whirlwind, which is what I do, thinking I'm faster. So I'm actually going to be able to get in that Rotom H, lose 25% from him, and I'm just going to switch into Rhyperior. You're going to let him take a hit or two, and he's actually going to go for an Overheat, which is really unfortunate because that means I could have just stayed in and probably recovered up or anything. Really probably just swapped his team around a bit more, but it's actually good that I let Rhyperior take the hit because it does put me at a bit of advantage. Though he does get a critical hit here, which does mean I'm going to lose my Rhyperior, but being with it to specs, it doesn't have too much of a use except for really baiting this Rotom H here. So I'm going to send in my Suicune just because I know he's locked into Overheat, and that can't do anything to me, especially at -4. So I'm just going to go for a Roar right here. I'm really switching around his team because I need the Deoxys D not to be able to do anything, and because this team obviously does revolve around hazards, as it seems with his Deoxys D, but so does mine. So It's really unfortunate that I do not have a spinner, but it's at the same time, none of my Pokemon really are damaged by the rocks, and I do have quite a bit of recovery through many uses. So he's going to send in his Zoroark right here, and I'm going to get fooled in thinking that it is a Steelix. But either way, it doesn't really matter because, as you see, it doesn't do too much at all, even though I don't have any investment in that department. So here I'm going to want to switch out because I am in a bit of a disadvantage, and I don't want to get seeded. So I'm going to switch out, and I'm going into my Rose Raid, and that's going to get sent in, and he's probably going for the lead seed right now. Actually, he goes for the substitute. Sorry, I haven't battled in quite a long time, over a month or so. This one has just been saved up through a lot of things. My brother kind of cleared my hard drive, so I had to get this back. It took some time, so I apologize for all the inconvenience. So I'm going to go for a Sludge Bomb all through the damage and everything, and Gallade Special defense. This will be able to KO thanks to a critical hit, but it is quite a good thing to see. And he's actually going to send in his Rotom H. This is another thing I could have stopped, so I'm just going to switch in my Snorlax, meaning that it's the best thing I have to take any hit. And if he does go for a trick like he does here, it's not too bad, because if I do go into rest, then I could just spam Sleep Talk and get any two moves that I want. Really, Whirlwind or Body Slam through luck, really. So he's going to go for an Overheat right here. Doesn't make too much sense thanks to Thick Fat, but it's something I could take advantage of. And seeing how little that does, it is really nice to see that I do have an advantage right here. So he's going to send in his Deoxys D through my Whirlwind. And knowing right here that it is the Deoxys D that I really don't want to let this thing recover up. So I am going to do whatever I can to keep this thing from recovering. But he's actually going to go for a Nightshade for no reason, trying to get some damage on me. But I'm just going to stay and go for a Whirlwind. And that means it's basically the end of that Pokemon, thanks to whatever. God, I'm sorry. Thanks to my hazards. So I'm just going to switch out. I'm going to go into Rose Raid, knowing it's my only real counter to this Pokemon. So really, he's just going to go for a Leechy. That's not going to do anything. He's probably wanted quite a bit of health from my Snorlax, being at it does have a high HP stat. So I'm just going to use that as an advantage, and I'm just going to go for a Sludge Bomb right here, knowing that he's probably going to try to play some mind games on me, switching from Steelix and stuff, but that doesn't really matter, and I'm just going to clear out this Whimsicott right here. So that means he has another Pokemon down, plus that Deoxys D that's going to die on the switch, and so he's going to go into his Steelix right here, which we are to believe is Steelix, but as you'll see in a second, it is actually Zoroark, knowing from the rocks damage. So here I'm just going to go for a Giga Drain, knowing that I can survive a Flamethrower as long as he is in something ridiculous as Specs or Life Orb. And that means it's going to be the end of that Pokemon, thanks to its horrible defensive stats and mediocre HP stat. So I'm in an okay position. I'm less than half, but there's nothing I really need to do at this point. He's probably just going to try to fake me out or something, get the kill on my Pokemon at this point with his Rotom Heat. So I'm just going to send it in. He's actually going to go for a Volt Switch. It would have been wise here to just take it and set up if I knew the Volt Switch was absolute. But I'm just going to send in my Snorlax, and that's okay because I do have a way to kill this Pokemon right here. I do have multiple ways to kill Steelix. Thanks being my Suicune. So I'm just going to go for a Whirlwind as I see that Pokemon. And here's the Deoxys D, and it does die on the switch and not being able to set up any spikes, which is quite nice. And he's going to send in his Steelix once again to take more rocks damage. And as you see, rocks and spikes, the rocks does very, very little compared to average rocks damage thanks to his quad resistance to it. So he's going to go for an Earthquake. I switch out to my Gligar, knowing it's probably the best thing I have to defend against it, and it's probably one. It's a decent attacker at the same time thanks to Earthquake. So I'm going to switch back into Snorlax, knowing he's probably going to want to switch into his Rotom, but that doesn't work out for the best, knowing he has Dragon Tail now. So he's actually going to switch me into my Bisharp. This is the least useful Pokemon on my team at the moment, because both Rotom H and Steelix can really get the best of it, knowing that this Brick Break won't do any damage at all. Really impressive damage, I should say. But he's going to go for a Dragon Tail, probably expecting me to switch out to basically save this Pokemon, but I really have no use to. So I'm going to get into my Rose Raid. with the Dragon Tail. I'm just going to take advantage of his Pokemon right here. So I'm going to go for a Giga Drain. He could easily try to predict around this, but it probably doesn't matter, being that if he sent the Rotom H in, it probably would die to a Giga Drain, knowing how little health it would have coming in. So really, at this point, all he has to do is send in his Rotom H, pick a move, and I win the game from there. So, see, at the little health, the Giga Drain probably would have been able to KO. So he's going to go for a Volt Switch right here. Probably just wanted to get the best move possible without any loss. But I'm just going to stay and go for Sludge Bomb. I do get a crit, which does not matter at all. So that is good game. Comment, like, and subscribe, you guys. I will see you next time possible.